The device generated weak, pulsed patterns of electromagnetic fields, he said, which were transmitted to a person sitting under this device. What's more, he claimed, electromagnetic fields, naturally occurring in the Earth itself, were responsible for all kinds of other weird reports, poltergeists, UFOs, even people hearing the voice of God. Dr. Persinger was at Laurentian University. That kind of stunned me, because Laurentian is in Sudbury, my old hometown, in Ontario, the province and place I grew up. I called him.
What I'm most interested in is the portions of the brain that generate the experience. My process of research, in fact our primary operation philosophy, is that if something is really true, no amount of challenge will ever change it. We're not interested in demeaning people's beliefs. What we're really interested in is finding out the parts of the brain that mediate the experience.
Okay, I said, but what about my ghost? Although I didn't ask him that directly, sort of hinted at it, talked around my personal story by invoking others. Likely the temporal lobes at play, he suggested. Oh yeah, what's that? It's part of our brain.
The significance of the temporal lobes in mystical and religious experiences are based upon three factors.
Michael Persinger.
One, that portions of the temporal lobe, the deep portions of the temporal lobe, contain structures that are key to memory consolidation, and the retrieval of memories. After all, who you are your memories. If we define
the temporal lobes are a kind of head office for stored memories and information gleaned from our senses. They're just above our ears, one on each side of the brain.
So the importance of the temporal lobe has to do with the three features: its involvement with language, its involvement with memory, and its involvement with attributing positive or negative experiences to sensations. Those three things together basically allow us to have mystical experiences.
I arranged to visit Dr. Persinger's lab. I needed to know if I am a temporal lobe personality, the kind of person, according to Laura Pearsall, a friend and former student of Persinger's, who's likely to screech the car to a stop to look at a beautiful sunset. That's me, all right, I thought. But do you find yourself moved by it? Find some meaning in the sight and the moment, she asked. Yeah, often I do. I'd like to think that I'm witnessing God's handiwork. Does that make me some kind of nut? When the temporal lobes are continuously functioning at a high level, they're prone to kindling. That means stimulation to other parts of the brain will kindle temporal lobe activity. Hence, visual or auditory stimuli will have a corresponding meaningfulness a lot of the time. A gorgeous sunset acquires even greater significance for the temporal lobe personality. People whose temporal lobes are not working at such a high level will probably say, "Gee, look at that, eh?" and continue along driving. Far from being crazy, the temporal lobe personalities are the creative ones. They find a great deal of meaning in the world. But specifically, I also needed to be sure of the poltergeist, the knockings, objects moving around, the terrible negative feelings that lingered about the house. Was that all in my head? And my wife and friends too? Were we all possessed by overstimulated imaginations? Or am I some kind of magnet for the phenomena, since I was the principal recipient of most of the attention? The answers were lurking in Persinger's research facility. Diary, August 29th, 1997. Laurentian University, first session. Walking into the isolation chamber was a Hollywood experience, a kind of boldly going where I hadn't been before. Having my eyes taped, head mapped with electrodes, then further isolated inside a rejigged motorcycle helmet, wires streaming out in all directions, was kind of neat. Testing 1, 2, 3, hello. Good afternoon, shoppers. The playfulness of my initial babble disguised a genuine worry. What if nothing happens? Diary. Just before the thud of the door locked out the real world, I heard a peculiar ringing, a burst of intertwined harmonics, like a cacophonous drop of a xylophone.
can't be certain, but I'm feeling a kind of a tingling along the...
The tingling in the right leg was familiar, as was the shaking from left to right of my eyes. Then came a monochromatic hallucination, eyes just short of materializing into a distinct form. Shadows, blurs.
Okay, a definite rush there.
A blitz of energy right up from the base of my spine, through and out the top of my head. A kind of zapping.
I'm getting a tingling in my dryness in my throat, and I have to report too that I'm feeling tense for some reason, like there's something behind, kind of a tension behind my shoulders.
Distinct feeling of being watched.
Like,
Unpleasant.
apprehensive about something.
My guard is up. A feeling something dreadful is about to unfold.
I get a kind of a rush.
Fear. I've known this fear before. When I was living in my mountain home in Canmore.
Oh, that's interesting.
Brief flashes of white light. A muted soapstone color. Smudges.
Almost like
really mere shadows.
Yes, architecture, and with depth too. Some geometry.
I see architecture. Gothic-looking stuff.
Yeah.
A cathedral-like entranceway.
I'm rushing and shaking there a bit.
It's about here the dreadful feeling begins anew.
Woo! A rush of cold. Whew. And also visual effects, like it was a pulse of a kind of a green. Like my shoulders are very tense up to my ears right now.
Discomfort,
and
twitching, and lapses of focus.
This is close to the experience I had now. It's right what happened just this last, that. Right, yeah. Well, eyes, definitely seeing eyes there. Very fearful. I have to apologize. I'm trying to look past the fear here. Definitely saw that. Yes. I see stars, everything's tingling around it. Definite visual effects. Don't stop this. This is getting close to the apparition I saw.
The morphing bits of light have color, reddish dots in among the swirl of formless form.
My hands are sweaty and my palms are... That's it. My palms are sweating. I'm seeing this visual dits and dots. There was some color, but it's this amorphous, and yeah. I think I found what I was looking for.
Okay, Don?
Yes, hi.
We're coming in, okay? Just relax.
Sure, thank you.
You made it.
That was very interesting.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a questionnaire to fill out.
Yeah.
All right, so...
Oof. I don't know. Do you mind me talking through it? I was just...
Not at all. I mean, most people don't, but
I'm doing it deliberately because I'm just reporting on much experience. But there was a period of time where I was completely confused. You know?
Yeah.
Like I just could not keep track of anything. And this involuntary spasms was bizarre. You know? Like I was just going like, womp. I have no idea what it looked like over there. But it was that feeling of manipulation, like almost like being a string puppet, you know, like not in control. That I'd be interested to see what happened if there were any spikes on the EEG there.
Right. Well, we'll show you.
After the fact, yeah. Or if this is just all my imagination.
No.
No.
No, he
Thanks.
said. A decisive sounding
I
no.
needed to know.
The session confirmed a hunch that my Canmore ghost was literally in my head. I had recognized the unsettling experience in a lab in Sudbury, thousands of kilometers from the Rockies. What other ghosts are in that machine and in the landscape? What on earth does it all mean?